Downing, publisher and editor of the D&D Daily, and this is the LP News Network. We're here today with Rex Gillette, Vice President of Retail Sales for Protection One and ADT. Protection One, a part of ADT, is a national leader when it comes to delivering retail business security that does more for you. They've built solid relationships with their clients, retail clients, by delivering an exceptionally high level of customer service. They recognize that crimes against retailers take many different forms, from the traditional problems posed by shoplifting, internal theft, paperwork, and vendor errors, to burglaries, robberies, fraudulent slip and falls, and returns and gift card fraud. Couple that with identity theft, data breaches, and compromised networks, and retailers face a daunting security landscape. Protection One has the breadth and depth of experience, along with the latest technologies that can serve retailers' needs to protect their physical locations that range from burglary protection and fire monitoring to access control and state-of-the-art event-triggered IP video solutions to managed video and network services. They also offer solutions to protect your virtual assets as well. Through its Network Operations Center, they can help to design, implement, monitor, and manage dedicated security-only networks that separate the security network and devices from the business operations. Protecting customer data is a top priority for retailers today, and implementing separate security networks or simply partitioning existing networks to segment data is a good first step in helping secure their information and that of their customers. Protection One has built its reputation by providing outstanding security, differentiated by careful attention to detail from installation through ongoing services, including same-day, next-day service and its Tech Tracker program. They offer a security program for enterprise retailers that is nationally administered, oftentimes with a single point of contact for day-to-day operations. And with that, Rex, thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Gus. Congratulations on your continued success with the D&D.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
I mean, retail is in a state of flux. We read about in the D&D every single day about staff reductions and retailers closing stores. And I think it's important that we don't lose sight of the fact that e-commerce is here to stay. I mean, the study just came out in 2017. Half of U.S. consumers spent some, if not most of their dollars on e-commerce as opposed to brick and mortar locations. But I think it's important that from a brick and mortar standpoint, physical security is still a very important part of it. I mean, we had, where we reside in Fort Lauderdale, we had 2 big box sporting good retailers. Now we only have 1. And from an organized crime standpoint, you know, they're all going to that 1, you know, so it's going to make it tougher and tougher on retailers as there's some form of shakeout in retail. So I think it's important that the retailers provide a real safe atmosphere for their employees and customers. I mean, that's going to be a differentiator. If you walk in and you see public view monitors, you see closer to television, you have access control products to help manage the safety, and also as a strong deterrent to you know, prevent the bad elements out of the location. Mm-hmm.
Is there any new technologies that Protection One is bringing?
Yes, we've had a lot of success recently with managed video services. And through our operations center, we've got 5 monitoring centers throughout the country, but through our National Account Operations Center, we're allowed to offer remote video services. We're actually doing shrink tours for some retailers where we'll go in and take a look at bad areas and report back our findings through an audit type process. We have escort services where we'll walk employees out late at night or early in the morning in certain areas that aren't really that safe. We conduct guard tours. You know, the cost of a guard these days is expensive, and so if we can accommodate the same thing by a virtual tour video, it saves a lot of money potentially. And alarm verification is real important these days, as law enforcement is slow to respond to false alarms. In fact, there are penalties and fines go along with it. So if we can manage that for a retailer, and even permit programs, we manage those for retailers too. So there's a lot of things that we can do, especially in these days where retailers are cutting back staff and cutting back locations. Mm-hmm.
How is the merger between the 2 organizations going from a standpoint of service delivery and the emphasis you continue to put on the retail client?
It's going great. I mean, it's 2 very big, proud historical companies, Protection One and ADT. We're proud to say that the metrics which Tim Waller, CEO, who's now CEO of the combined company, that he established 7 years ago, Protection One, have been adopted by the ADT offices. We are at same-day service, which is our landmark, which is our standard. We've developed, implemented a Tech Tracker, which tracks a technician from one location to another, again, that same day, but the last notification the retailer gets is of that technician's, his or her photograph as well as their qualifications. Qualifications is important because one of the things our industry has been guilty of is having the wrong tech show up. And you can't really accomplish anything the same day if you have the wrong person check up. So now it's a self-audit so that the qualifications of the technicians are right there with it. We also, have been able to do in short order, and in fact, I think all of us didn't realize that our executive team would be able to accomplish this fast, but we did away with all the phone trees. We did SOP 1 years ago. So now when you call an ADT monitoring center, you get a live person. We measure the time response every single day, and we're averaging below 60 seconds. We also manage the transfers, because if you think about it, if you get the call transferred 8 times, you might as well have a phone tree, and so the only good transfer for us is a highly technical question that you have, and again, we're at a fraction as far as our transfers go. So we've really adapted the overall combined culture to what was established at P1 years ago. Our offices get a scorecard every single day, which our CEO and executive team manage and monitor. And so it's a really behavioral change aspect. And so it's a big animal. We've got 18,000 employees now at the combined company. But it's exciting. It's going to put us closer to the customer because we'll have 200 offices now. That means same-day service will be that easier to achieve. It's a real exciting time. We've been able to duplicate our national account center in Irving, Texas, and Toronto. Before, we kind of reluctantly did installations and service in Canada because we had to use subcontractors, and we typically like to use our own people. 96% of our service calls are done by now P1 ADT employees as opposed to subcontractors. So with a subcontractor in Canada, it was always, we had to micromanage it because we wanted to deliver the same type of service up there. Now with the merger of ADT and Protection One, where we're able to duplicate through a monitoring center in Toronto everything we do down in Irving, Texas. And it's been fantastic now because now we can aggressively market our services to the Canadian retailers, as well as better manage the installation and service for U.S. retailers that open up stores in Canada.
Right. So the tech tracker, does the customer or the retailer have access to that as well?
Yes.
So they can, from the time the person leaves to the time the person gets to the store?
That's correct. And we bring a new customer on, we establish a profile, which talks about every aspect of our relationship with that retailer. And a part of the profile is who's the tech tracker going to go to. And it can go to one person, go to 1,000 people. It doesn't matter to us. And there's no cost to this. All these eSuite, all these offerings that we have, our web-based portal, there's no additional cost to our customers. But so the tech tracker, when a service call is placed, and again, this all happens in the same day. Same-day service is a religion for us here at Protection One ADT. When that service call is established, that email goes to one person, 1,000 people, whoever you designate it goes to. And then when the technician is leaving the job before coming to your job, the customer, again, 1,000 people or 100 people or one person, gets another email with that technician's picture and their qualifications. And we thought that a byproduct which has been real healthy is that the qualifications, because what's driven, they know that a picture of them is going to a customer, and they're taking more classes. They want to have more qualifications. They want to bring better value to themselves, and so that's been a nice byproduct of the tech tracker product. So we're extremely ecstatic about the merging of the two companies. We're also ecstatic for those of us that started with Tim back in the initial days of P1, initial days when P1 changed hands 7 years ago. We couldn't be more excited about how fast this merging, and most importantly, the metrics that made us so successful at P1, how they've been adopted by the ADT family. So from a national account standpoint, we call ourselves P1 ADT. So when I talk to you, Gus, you can use both those terms right now.
Okay.
Eventually, once we get to a level of comfort level that we're 100% offering same type of service we have traditionally at P1, gradually we'll use both names to lean towards ADT. ADT's a long history and a rich culture.
Yeah, so the techs at ADT would then, I would assume, need to be trained, qualified, educated, brought up to the level of the Protection One solutions in services.
That's exactly right. And Tim Wall was very passionate about, when this merger initially took place, that until that happened, that the ADT techs would not service P1 Protection One national accounts. And so that was a very strong divide coming from our CEO. And a lot of us thought it was going to take a while, and it actually didn't. It actually moved a lot faster than we expected it to. So so that training has taken place. Most importantly, the expectations of getting there on time with the right technicians have taken place. And we're so much further along than I think any of us could have wished for. So,
and I would assume the pride's much higher and morale's higher.
It's very much so. I mean, it's a great, and we've got a great leadership team. I mean, we are You know, they're very passionate. Tim and his executives are very passionate about the customer. I mean, that's what set us apart from the beginning.
Right.
It's all about customer service. You know, we, as the large security integrators, we all have the opportunity to pretty much sell the same stuff, you know, and so it's all about who can deliver it, who can install it properly, who can service it. You know, the same day service is again, is a religion to us. One of the things we do too, and again, this is something that's obviously been adopted by ADT because as part of our things, we take pictures of every single installation, every component of every installation. And our technicians all are armed with, at an investment of ours, of smartphones, and as soon as that installation is complete, those pictures are posted to our eSuite web portal, which is a data-rich portal which the customer has immediate access to. And so there's no hiding behind shoddy installations. I mean, that technician knows his or her work is going up on the web, you know, as soon as they leave that store. And it also allows for us to do a self-audit, you know, so we can take a look at it and say, hey, this is done right. But you know, when your work is shown in display, you tend to do it a little bit better.
Yeah, well, that's the number one issue of all, is the installation and the service. At the end of the day, no matter what your product is, it's the service long-term that differentiates an organization. So the pride that you've taken and the amount of time and energy the organization has put into it is obviously paying off, bottom line. So how far are you down that completion road from a standpoint of the ADT transition?
We're there. We're there. We're excited. We're there. We were probably the last component that we had to be sure of was that Toronto operating center, because that was an investment. Again, what we've accomplished down in Irving, Texas, was evolved over the course of time. You know, we developed and planned it from how the cubicles will sit and everything else related to how can we best serve the customer. And so that took a little bit of time up in Toronto, but so I'm happy to say I got a call a couple weeks ago from our president of Canada, Steve Hopkins, and we're ready to go. So,
how do you foresee 2018 for the retail industry? I mean, just kind of backing off a little bit and looking at the industry as a whole with everything that's gone on the last year or two. How do you foresee this coming year?
Well, I think from the industry standpoint, it's going to be tough. I mean, for the security integrators, you know, when retail doesn't move forward or grows, I mean, it makes it tough on us. However, at Protection One, we have something going for us that maybe the other integrators do not, is that we've been able to take market share. So the market may not be growing, but our ability to take the share that's available, and it all comes down to the customer service aspect of it. So we feel very positive. You know, our pipeline is full going into 2018. We're aggressive, as you know, in the marketplace. So from an ADT Protection One standpoint, we feel very strong. Now again, the retail is what it is. I mean, you know, I think that there's going to be a happy mix, not a happy mix, may not be the wrong word, but between e-commerce and most retailers have an e-commerce strategy, but it's competitive. I mean, it will continue to be so, and the retailers have got to be great. And one of the things from an integration standpoint, they're not going to tolerate poor service. It's so competitive out there now for almost every vertical aspect of retail. It is so competitive that they don't have time to waste on managing us as integrators. I mean, they're not going to have time for installations that are shoddy or service that's a day late. And so again, I feel very comfortable about our prospects going to 2018. Again, primarily because I think there's a lot of market share we can take based on the differential of our services and offerings.
Right. Excellent, and great job the last year with the transition and such.
Thanks,
Great
guys.
news.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for being here, and we appreciate the support.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rex. Well, that's it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to thank you for watching, and until next time, let's keep them all safe out there.